I'm Cynthia and welcome to Seeds. This is a programme that brings everyday people who've put their faith in action. On today's programme, we will be talking to Lowell Baricanosa and his exciting journey to Paris.
Even if you've just had a glimmer or an instance where you thought you could make a difference by using your faith and putting it into action, I say don't ignore it. I became a Seventh-day Adventist thanks in no small part to my family. I was brought up Catholic and Adventist. And I really didn't know anything outside that. It seemed really, what my identity, my family. On Saturdays, I'd go with my grandmother to Fulham Church. On Sundays, I'd go to a Catholic church down the road on Fulham Road. So I really got to know the Fulham Road pretty well. But it was just an amazing time. I mean, I remember Sabbaths. It was predominantly a Caribbean church, and my grandmother's half Spanish, and she's standing there, and I could see, you're a kid, your perceptions are there. I could see there was differences, but you didn't feel different. It really felt like a family. Felt like church was the soul of life. Outside everything else that was happening, this is where you really connect and engage. And I knew that from a very early age in my life. But at the same token, I think I felt the same sincerity, the same holiness in the Catholic church when I was going on Sundays. The services were very, very, very humbling, and also I did feel I was worshipping, and it was almost like a perfect bubble as I was growing up. Education life also went hand in hand with that. I mean, I went to Catholic school, and they were incredible times. I really enjoyed myself. I made fantastic friends, both within the staff and the kids I went to school with, and I had a really good time. As life goes on, I think maybe it's the sad fact we kind of lose our childhood as we grow up, and things didn't seem as perfect anymore. I got shifted into this other sphere of life where there were challenges and emotions I wasn't aware of before, and I wasn't prepared for, and I kind of lost my way in where my identity was, which at the time the church really meant a lot to me. Losing my grandmother, that also kind of removed me from the church, going to university and just seeing, the world really, made me question where I was. And maybe also a lot of the time, don't even question, just went for it. And it wasn't until very difficult times hit certain people in my family, things like cancer, things like separation, that I really saw where faith could take you. So I came from this very perfect world to another world where, okay, what if it isn't perfect? What are you going to do about it? And I observed these people, and they made such incredible impressions on me, and how their relationship with God really encompassed their decision making, their thought process, and taking it another level where there's nothing else in this world that's going to answer this. I'm going to put it in God's hands. And every time God pulled through. And of course, this was over a span of time as I was observing it. But I'm sure when my family members were going through it, every day, every moment, it must have been incredibly difficult. And that's what really shone for me. I got involved into a cycling trip to Paris to raise funds for children below the age of 5 who in other circumstances would be alive today, but just the way the world is and not enough awareness, 25,000 children die every day from curable diseases. And that touched the heart of a good friend of mine, Craig Shipton. We'd been friends for a long time. We'd do small groups together, we'd hang out together at church and after church. So we'd established a very good, almost like brothers. And he was going through a really incredible time. Worked really hard. He's a great role model for learning and for applying hard work to life. But also, you know, he's a very cool guy. You see him and you think, yeah, typical surfer dude, but he's not. He's more than that. And yeah, he was looking at his life. He was reflecting, and he was in one of the best companies to work for in the UK. Arguably, it was probably the most profitable organization in the UK, if not the world at the time. And he just wasn't happy. I mean, he'd put on his Outlook, you know, lunchtime, go out, read a Bible verse and reflect. And that's what he would do. And that was, I think, was keeping him spiritually and mentally sane through his career path at that time. And then, you know, so I'd like to think he got a calling that there's more to this. And there was more to this. He decided to do a trip from London to Athens, which is about, would take 25,000 revolutions of spinning to do from London to Athens. He did that to raise awareness for children. And so it connected quite well. 25,000 spins, 25,000 children. And it just, you know, this whole idea suddenly took form. He talked to me about it. I said I'd help organize it. Let's train together. And unfortunately, I couldn't go. But he inspired so many people to go with him that they cycled from London to Paris. And then from there, a few more people joined him through Switzerland and Italy. And then on the journey to Athens, he'd meet people on the way. And his mother was there to welcome him and greet him and congratulate him as he rode to Athens. So that was incredibly inspiring for me. Again, like I said, as I met him as a person, he's such a good role model. But to see him do something so much out of his comfort zone, so different from anything else out there, really inspired me. So I said, right, next year, I promise you, Craig, I'm going to go and join you in this one. I remember quite vividly that when he decided to embark on this expedition, I was the most cynical guy there, because I was thinking, Craig, you want to raise £25,000 for this fantastic cause, but we're hitting a recession. There's no way you're going to hit 25K. And, you know, I think it was a month before they were even leaving. And it just, the encouragement about the news was, you have just raised £36,000. And to hear that before you go, like you hear a lot about other charities and other, you know, expeditions, and they're really having to push sponsorship, ask every single person, you know, right up to the last minute. This is a whole month before. So you can imagine just the uplift everyone's feeling. And you could see it. I mean, you just have to look at the pictures and the smiles on the faces and these everyday people who've decided to make a difference and to get out of their comfort zone and to really put their faith in action, so to speak, has been incredible. And that's what encouraged me to join them this year. And it was amazing because, you know, I was uplifted by this. I was inspired by what Craig had achieved in Athens. And I knew that there was going to be a really fun group of people going. But then suddenly my head started getting in again. I'm like, Lowell, you know, you're in between jobs right now. You're also realizing that the recession is bigger than what we thought it would be. And we want to raise 25K again. Get out of here. Yeah, and I almost didn't join. I was so scared. I didn't even ask my workplace to ask for permission. That's how scared. I really did not have any faith in it at all. Truth be told, I really didn't have any faith until Craig started calling me up again. I started going through the pictures of what had happened, and then really analyzing what this 25,000 spins is about, and the children that it's helping, the communities, and knowing how good my life was as a kid. I wouldn't want to take that away from anyone. And I stupidly, insanely decided a month before we were going to go, all right, I'm going to start raising money. I'll see what I can get. And anything else, I'll just fill in myself, right? A month I started before. Within that month, I'd raised in excess of the minimum. I raised, over £1,000 in 1 month. I don't know if that's possible, in regular days, but it was just, I'll give you an example. There was a girl I knew who was studying here. She'd moved to Burma. to continue studies. She said it was her birthday. She said, right, guys, rather than sending me gifts, I'd like you to look at this cause, 25,000 spins. And if you feel anything towards me or to this mission, I'd like you to, rather than give me anything at all, please donate to this organization. And she contributed her age in sterling to 25,000 spins. And this other girl who's connected to her read up on it, was moved by it, and she also contributed the same amount for that. And so I was getting money from people I'd never even met before, and you know, from seeing someone who's had very little faith in what I was doing and also the organization. I was like, goodness me, this is bigger than me. This really is about helping other people. And I was very, very, very inspired by that again. And you know, you really get moved by how big things can become if you just be a part of it. Things can really happen, really, really happen. We started off at a station just outside London. The buzz was already alight because we rode down there. I met Craig and the mechanic at Trafalgar Square. So what a better send-off than that, you being somewhere really British, feeling really, you know, very very patriotic that you're going to make this mammoth adventure. So we rode down to a station in London, and then other people started teaming together, and you know, just seeing you know, the diversity. You know, we had nurses, we had students, we had people from the church, a lot of people from outside the church, people like, you know, who normally I'd be quite standoffish, like, who you know, and you got this, you know, very, yeah, you felt it, and then suddenly, like, you know, all this connection, you know, and this common theme that we had a common purpose, and we were going to make a difference, and these tough guys that, you know, they had big hearts, and these girls who, you know, look very feminine and fragile were actually full of heart and energy and soul, and it just took on a life of its own. And you know, everyone started cycling together, and then suddenly you had this community of cyclists working together, and the ride down to the coast was so pleasurable because we already were working as a team. You know, we were signaling, turning right, turning left, so everyone was working together as a team. So you know, no one was getting lost. We had any mechanical faults, people would stop together as a group, raise their hands, hey, can you give us a hand here? And you know, a bunch of us would help here, or you know, suddenly people were going, you know, too fast, and some people were caught up behind. People would come back, and you know, to have this togetherness was so powerful. It just kick-started off with the right tone, I think. That people thought, right, I've joined something I was a bit nervous about, I'm not too sure about, and now I know this is going to be a good thing. So yeah, that's how we started off. It's amazing, our goal being Paris really only sunk in once we entered the capital, because every moment before then, you've got to imagine, it's just being brought up in a metropolis like London. It's easy to forget how beautiful the countryside is, how beautiful this world is, and the moments cycling from London to Paris, in between that, will stay with me for the rest of my life. I mean, the contours of this planet, and particularly in France, is so breathtaking. You feel your sense of awareness, your sense is just everything. The taste of the air in your mouth, the sounds in the forest, the visual sights of small villages at the bottom of a valley, and then you're together with people who are suddenly raised to almost like a higher purpose. It's incredible. So when you reach this city, and now it's just dawning on me, it's almost like going through life and reaching your goal of heaven. You've realized that along the way, you've already been making this character change, this spiritual change. So by the time I reached Paris, it was like I had met heaven even before I'd even reached heaven. To know that this comes not from my own achievements, but just my little step, like saying, God, I need your help, and he just he just showed what he was all about, you know.
Remember, just like Lowell, all you've got to do is take the first step and God will do the rest. If you or somebody you know has put their faith into action, then please contact us via email on seeds@adventist.org.uk. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.